We're going to Mexico, UFC Fight Night, Mexico City, where we're going to have a bunch of rematches, a main event rematch, a co-main event rematch, 2 5-rounders. This is the first time we're getting 2 5-rounders on a fight night card, so it's a pretty good fight night card. But starting off, I'm going to break down the whole card, starting with the first prelim of the night, which is Muhammad Naimov versus Eric Silva. Now, I think this is really bad matchmaking. Say what you want about Muhammad Naimov's fouls against Nathaniel Wood. He won. Why is he getting Eric Silva, who's 0-1 in the UFC, when, Naimov's what, 3-0 in the UFC? Is that correct? He's 3-0, I believe. Let me check. Might be wrong, actually. So he went from Malarkey straight to Wood. But still, Eric Silva's a big step backwards, but I think he's going to beat Eric Silva. Eric Silva's 39 years old. Okay, he's 36. He's an old featherweight. He got absolutely destroyed by TJ Brown. He's grappling, he doesn't have very good grappling defense. Now, I know Muhammad Naimov is a Taekwondo fighter, so maybe that doesn't factor in here, but I can just see Muhammad Naimov beating the shit out of Eric Silva, I'm not going to lie. Eric Silva is good when he's fighting a one-dimensional kickboxer, but then outside of that, he's beating not the greatest guys, a 6-6 guy, literally 3 fights before Dana White Contender Series. He's not really beaten stellar competition. And Muhammad Naimov can grapple a little bit. He's not useless. He's got a few subs. I'm gonna go with Muhammad Naimov just beating up Eric Silva on the feet. I don't really see Eric Silva giving him much trouble at all here. I don't rate Eric Silva. He's an older featherweight. The guy's, like I say, he's older in that weight class, and you're not going to be better at 36 years old. And he took a lot of time off. I think he debuted in 2021, 2022 actually was probably. I think it was December 2021 where he debuted against TJ Brown. I think it was the same card that had Pimlet versus Gordon on it, right? Yeah, UFC 282, Blakovic versus Ankalaev. So, he showed no resistance in that fight. He got absolutely destroyed. I'm going to take Muhammad Naimov here. I think he's going to KO Eric Silva, or maybe just win a decision. Eric Silva, can't remember his chin too much. I don't think his chin's been that tested. But Naimov hits hard. I can see Naimov clipping him. And probably getting a decision. I think he's going to beat up Eric Silva. I feel like this is not a mismatch, but a very big step backward. But anyway, I'm going with Naimov. Moving on to the next fight, we have Victor Altamirano versus Felipe Dos Santos. I'm going with Felipe Dos Santos here. I think this is a fight he can win all day. Victor Altamirano is a very exciting, fun fighter. A lot of people, he does have a Tony Ferguson type style at flyweight, but which is also funny because Felipe Dos Santos literally fights a more aggressive Charles Oliveira. I'm going to be going with Felipe Dos Santos here. We've seen Victor get clipped before. Daniel Lacerda clipped him pretty badly in their fight. He did lose to Tim Elliott, and he's been out for a while, so maybe he's made some rapid improvements or something like that. But I think Felipe Dos Santos is going to win. He showed that he is top 10 level. He did have a really competitive fight with Manel Kape, and we all know how good Manel Kape is. Manel Kape, one of the best strikers in the division, and he was giving Manel Kape all that smoke on short notice. I'm going to picture him just pressuring forward. Victor Altamirano, I feel like he's going to get pressured up a lot here, and I think he's going to get clipped. We've seen him get clipped, and I think he's going to get clipped a lot. And I think Felipe Dos Santos is going to get him out of there by TKO/KO. So I'm going with Felipe Dos Santos. I was really impressed with him against Manel Kape. I hope this isn't a situation where he has a crazy performance, and then he comes back and it's oh fuck, he was just because it was short notice or something like that. Then we have Luis Rodriguez versus Denis Bodnar. Now this is a really difficult one to predict. I know you're going to look at that record of Luis Rodriguez and you're going to say, oh no, he's definitely going to win. He's really, he's 16-2. But look at the guys he's beating. 11-11 to get into the UFC. 6-1, not bad, but 5-0 split decision. Then a 5-1 guy. 6-5. He lost to Jerome Rivera, who's fucking god awful. He was generally one of the worst signings in UFC history. He went on to lose to Tyson Nam, Figueiredo's brother. He lost to Odie Osborne, and then he got choked out by Zaglas Zumagov. Like, the guy's not very good. You know, he's just not a very good fighter, in my opinion. I know it seems like I'm being really harsh, but like the fact that Luis Rodriguez lost to him is like a fucking horrible look. And I know Dennis Bondar lost to Malcolm Gordon, which is also a very bad look. So, you know, this is just a really bad look for both these guys in this fight. Luis Rodriguez is tough, but like he's having so many competitive fights, and then yeah, he's finishing. The only guys he really finishes are cans. You know, I might regret this, but I'm gonna go with Dennis Bondar here. He has a very nice striking style. He has very nice boxing. Reminiscent, he does fight like a bit like an MMA type of Lomachenko type fighter. Obviously, I'm not saying he's as good as Lomachenko. I'm just saying like he's got that same sort of Ukrainian striking style, boxing style. I know he got absolutely dominated by, was it Carlos? I forget. There's two Carloses. I'm trying to remember which Carlos. Carlos Hernandez. It was Hernandez. I know he did get destroyed by Carlos Hernandez, and he did get chin there. So his chin is a worry. Luis Rodriguez could probably go out there and chin him, but I'm going to take Dennis Bondar, even though I know it's probably not the pick that most people are expecting here. I think Dennis Bondar can get this one done. Not super confident on this, but you know, we'll see what happens. But yeah, like I say, I'm going with Bondar. Then we have Claudio Puelles versus Faresi Zam. I'm going with Faresi Zam here. Claudio Puelles, he's been figured out. It's figured out how to beat this guy. If he can't leg lock you, he's fucked. Faresi Zam, very big, long, rangy guy. I can just see him kicking out the body here. We did see he is very weak to body shots. Dan Hooker did finish him with a teep to the body. I think Faresi Zam is smart enough here not to go and get fucking leg locked. And I hate to say about a fighter, but Claudio Puelles is just a one-trick pony in there. He's not going to go out there and knock you out with his hands. He has been out for a while, so maybe he fucking shocks the world and gets a KO. But I'm going to imagine that is very unlikely here that he's going to come back and he's going to look like a fucking Olympic type boxer. He's going to look like a K1 type fighter. So I'm going to take Faresi Zam to get this one done. But I'm going to go by decision. I think he's just sort of going to outclass him, you know, not make any big mistakes. He's not really a big finisher. So yeah, I'm going to go Faresi Zam here, just finding a very smart fight. Then we have Edgar Chairez versus Daniel Lacerda, rebooked for the fucking third time now. Edgar Chairez is going to win. He's going to knock out Daniel Lacerda. Lacerda will have like a close moment probably, knowing how Lacerda is, and then he'll get knocked out. Then we have Jesus Aguilar versus Mateus Mendoza. Mendoza looks horrible his last fight, and I don't know why he is at this weight class. He should not be a flyweight. I feel like he should stick to bantamweight. But then Jesus Aguilar, yeah, he got a fast KO his last fight, but it was against Shannon Ross, who, you know, respect to Shannon Ross, but he's just not got the best chin. Oh, God, this is a difficult one to pick. Because Mendoza really did get fucked up by Nate Maness. Oh my God, man, this is actually a difficult one. Jesus Aguilar is tiny though, and I'm gonna go Mendoza. I know he lost to Nate Maness, and it wasn't a good look, but he's gonna be better. I feel like now he's already cut the weight. He has like a 9-inch reach advantage here. He's KO. He's got good KO power. He's gonna be bigger. I'm gonna go with Mendoza. I'm not super confident in this pick, but I'm gonna take him here. Jesus Aguilar is good, but he's fucking tiny. There should be a fucking strawweight division for this guy. Like his success is gonna be so limited just because of how small the bloke is. Like he's fucking tiny. 62-inch reach is crazy. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Mendoza to crack that chin. Maybe not like a flatline KO, but rocks him. Because Mendoza does have some crazy KO power. This guy was piped up as one of the best prospects out of Brazil. And like the guy's power is crazy. like that KO we got on Dana White Contender Series. I know it's not against like the most durable guy, but it was a fucking brutal KO in 48 seconds. So I'm gonna say he can get a nice KO here against Jesus Aguilar. Then we have Christian Quinones versus Rani Barcelos. Quinones had a really interesting UFC debut. Sorry about that. My ring doorbell. Going on. Sorry. Barcelos. Barcelos is going to win this fight. Quinones, he was looking good against Quan Han. I was going to call him Quan Han. I was going to call him Quan Can Han for a second there. Sorry, I got to look at his name just so I don't mispronounce it. Quan Ho Kang, sorry. He looked really good. He was beating him up, and then he just went reckless and then dropped and choked out. I think Barcelos is much better. He's a much better fighter. He hasn't fought for a while. I don't think he's fought... Oh no, he did. He fought Kyler Phillips. I don't remember that fucking fight happening. I really don't remember that fight happening. That was the Nashville card? What? Okay. I don't remember that fight happening at all. But I know Barcelos is older, but I can still see him winning this fight against Quinones. I don't think Quinones is, as good as like a Kyler Phillips or an Umar Nurmagomedov or a Victor Henry. Barcelos should have beat Timur Valiev, or it should have been a draw. So, I don't think Quinones is on the level of guys who have beaten Barcelos before, and I think Barcelos can just beat him up in this fight. So yeah, I'm going to go with Barcelos getting a decision here. Then we have Manel Torres versus Chris Duncan. I'm going to take Manel Torres here. Chris Duncan's looking really good, and maybe he proves me wrong here, but his chin is just too sus for me in this fight to pick him. He gets hurt a lot. And I just worry about his chin a lot. And, when he's fighting a guy like Manel Torres, who's also hittable himself, don't get me wrong, but he's so fucking long. He's 73-inch reach. He's powerful. I don't like it for Chris Duncan. I just see Chris Duncan getting starched in this fight against Manel Torres. But he did impress me a bit against Yanal Ashmuz. So maybe he can go in there and he can prove me wrong again. Then we have Yasmin Jauregui versus Sam Hughes. I'm taking Yasmin here. Moving on, I got Raul Rosas Jr. versus Ricky Tercios. I'm going to go with Raul Rosas Jr. here. Ricky Tercios has looked really weird in his last few fights. He had that really crazy fight against Brady Highstand, and then had a horrible performance against Zahabi. And then he had a really scarily competitive fight against Kevin Natafi Dad. And Natafi Dad isn't the greatest fighter at all. And most people are chinning him. Like literally all of his losses were by getting chinned. But like Tercios was having a back and forth war with him where I think he got rocked a few times as well. It was a really fun fight, but like Jesus Christ, you shouldn't be making it that close with him. Raul Rosas Jr., yeah, he lost to Christian Rodriguez, but it's fucking... Christian Rodriguez is really good, and he did miss weight. Like, he's not a bad fighter by any means. And, he did bounce back with a KO. I'm going to say Raul Rosas could probably go out there and KO Tercios, but Tercios' takedown defense, isn't the greatest from memory. I can see Raul Rosas just winning this fight with like a submission, maybe taking him down. Ricky Tercios is tough, so maybe he just won't give up. But, I'm just seeing Raul Rosas Jr. Maybe, actually, I'm going to go by KO. I actually think Raul Rosas can catch him because Tercios is so wild, and I don't know how motivated he really is for these fights. So I'm going to take Raul Rosas Jr. and get this one done by KO. Or TKO, more like a TKO. I think you can rock him and then, take the back, then flatten him out, beat him out. Either a TKO or a club and sub is how I see this going. Then we have Daniel Zellhuber versus Francisco Prado. I'm gonna go with Zellhuber here. I think this is gonna be a striking fight, and if this is a striking fight, I don't see Zellhuber losing this fight. Uh, Actually, it does get hit quite a lot. No, I'm gonna take Prado. I think I'm gonna take Zellhuber here. I think he can really do well in this fight. Prado's a powerful guy, and we did see that against Ottoman Zaitar. That that power of fucking, he's definitely still got the power. And they both have really long reaches. Prado's actually got a sneaky long reach. Yeah, Zellhuber didn't impress me super against Christian. Christos Gergios. He didn't impress me too much in that fight, but he'd end up getting a finish when he had a bit of a shaky first round. But yeah, I think Zellhuber's sort of just gonna, get a decision here, take him down, beat him up a little bit. He can mix in some grappling. We did see for Prado's takedown defense not the greatest against Jamie Malaki, so I think Daniel Zellhuber will come with a good game plan. He trains at Extreme Couture. Eric Nixick always comes up with good game plans, so I'm going to go with Daniel Zellhuber to get this one done. Then we have Yair Rodriguez versus Brian Ortega. I'm going with Yair Rodriguez. I don't know how committed Brian Ortega really is to the fight game at this point. I just think that Yair is much more dedicated, and he was beating the fuck out of him the first fight. He was beating the shit out of Ortega. I think if that fight went any longer, I mean he did technically sub him as well, because he caused that injury. People don't want to hear it, but Yair pretty much subbed him because he caused that shoulder to tear with the armbar attempt. So he literally did that. Obviously, I don't think that's going to happen most times out of 10, but I think Yair is just going to beat the shit out of Brian Ortega on the feet. I know Yair's takedown defense gets mocked a lot, but Brian Ortega's got awful offensive wrestling. So I think Yair Rodriguez, I think he's going to beat the shit out of Brian Ortega, and he's going to get this one done. And yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens with Brian Ortega next. Maybe they do Yair Rodriguez versus Ilir Topuria in Spain. They're both Espanol speakers, so it probably makes sense for the market there. That'd probably be, you could do a whole trash talk thing with them speaking in Spanish at the press conference in Spain or something like that. It makes perfect sense. So, I see something along them lines happening. But yeah, that's what I think Yair winning this fight. I think he's just going to beat the shit out of Brian Ortega. Probably going to finish Dr. Stoppage after just booting the shit out of Brian Ortega, and he gets beat up, he's beaten up. Oh, call it off, it's over. Fuck, man. I thought I was going to, Brian Ortega's going to come out, he's going to talk like, no, I was coming for his head, man. I wanted to fuck him up, man. I would have come out for another round. I would have gave you guys another round if they would have let me. I'm coming here to fuck shit up, and they didn't want to let me do it. I was coming for his head, man. I'm coming for his head. And, Brian Ortega's going to talk in some monotone fucking speech or something like that. So I wanted to do it. Maybe, fucking who knows. I just see it all happening. I see it all playing out in my head. Then we got the main event. Brandon Moreno versus Brendan Royval. I'm going with... Jesus Christ, man. I've got CTE. I'm going with Moreno. I think Moreno's just a tad better than Royval at this point. They fought before. Moreno was winning, but obviously Royval did tear his shoulder, so that's not going to happen most times out of 10. But I think Moreno's going to box him up a little bit here. I think he can mix in some grappling. I think it's going to be a back and forth scrap. I've just seen these two going back and forth. I think a lot of flyweight scrambles happening here and there. They're going to be scrambling all over the place. I think Moreno, being Mexican, he's probably going to have the better cardio in Mexico given that high altitude. He's going to be used to it. So I see Brandon Moreno just boxing him up a little bit. And I think he's going to have that better gas tank in this fight. I don't know if Royval has been, focusing on the altitude or anything like that. He probably has. I think I read that he has been. So maybe his cardio is going to be fine and he's going to be adjusted to the altitude. But I'm going to assume Moreno is more adjusted because he literally lives in Mexico. So I'm going to go with Moreno getting this one done. I'm going to go by decision. I think it's going to be a back and forth scrap, but I think Moreno's going to do enough to get the judges' scorecard in this fight. But I expect a back and forth fight for sure. And, Royval does a good shot because I think Moreno's chin is fading a bit. He's getting dropped and hurt a lot more. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you like this video. Leave your predictions in the comments below, and I'll see you guys next time. Cheers.